Please be advised that this video is for the sole purpose of entertainment. Any views are purely my own, are subjective and may not necessarily be true. I do, however, do extensive research for all of my videos. All photos have been found on the public domain. I am using them under the fair use and fair dealing guidelines. I urge everybody to do their own research. Well, hello, it's Murky Meg here. It's Sunday the 19th of January, and in this video I'm going to break down both the Queen's statement released yesterday at 6:30 and subsequently the following statement that Meghan and Harry sent via Buckingham Palace. One thing was evidently clear, as with Monday's statement from the summit, is the thing that she's focusing on most is family. Another key element is that it's been evidently clear that this has been in the pipeline for months. You could see it was a very personal statement because she referred to family 4 times and she used I 3 times and my's 5 times. So the first part of the statement, following many months of conversation and more recent discussions, I am pleased that together we've found a constructive and supportive way forward for my grandson and his family. I think that the royal family were well aware of their unhappiness of royal life, but they wanted them to take their time and seriously think about this. So it's clear that they have actually known about this for some time, but didn't expect them to go nuclear on them. The term many months shows this, that they have been discussing this and they were well aware of their unhappiness. Or maybe not just unhappiness, but they were aware of the potential that the Sussex brand had and that they knew that Harry and Meghan wanted to push that forward and monetize on their titles. She again refers in a personal nature, my grandson and his family, and refers to him as himself rather than the Duke of Sussex. So that indicates the family tie. This is, again, from a grandmother, not a queen. She's laying the foundations of unity. And the next paragraph is paramount to this, that Harry, Meghan and Archie will always be loved members of my family. Again, she's making sure that the public are well aware that everything is fine within the family. They're happy that this is happening, and that's what they want the public to understand. This is her way of making sure that this split is harmonious as possible. She also refers to the scrutiny that Meghan and Harry have been subjected to. And I think this needed to be said in the statement, because otherwise she could have dealt with quite a lot of backlash if she hadn't given a reason for this statement. She goes on to say, I recognise the challenges that have been experienced as a result of the intense scrutiny over the last 2 years and support their wish for a more independent life. Again, she is making sure that everybody is aware that they are kept in the fold with regards to the family, but not with regards to the royal role. She mentions that they want an independent life and that she's supportive of that. I think it's the only thing that she could have said, really. She's hardly going to turn around and say, oh, you ungrateful whingers, you go off and do whatever you want and I'm not going to support you. That's not how the Queen plays, I'm afraid. She is ever the diplomat, and this goes on as an example when she says, I want to thank them for all their dedicated work across the country, the Commonwealth and beyond. And I'm particularly proud of how Meghan has so quickly become one of the family. I see this as almost like an employer writing their goodbye card. They have to be humble about this. Doesn't matter whether you're a screw-up or not. When you're saying goodbye, you have to be humble and sincere. You have to say, oh, well done, best endeavours, off you pop. You'll do well, you'll be missed, even though they probably won't be. Deeply, you can see that she's hurt with how this has transpired, but she's still the Queen and Harry is still her grandson at the end of the day, and always will be. Now remember that the Queen never shows her hand. She may well be really angry about all of this, but she's also keen to protect the crown at all cost. She doesn't want to consider or make it known that she might feel that Meghan is a bolter and that she didn't want to stick around, and the fact that she's caved in before 2 years of service within the royal family. But she can't say that, can she? And then the statement ends it is my whole family's hope that today's agreement allows them to start building a happy and peaceful new life. That's quite interesting that she used the term peaceful, because as we're probably aware, Meghan's life is anything but, and that's the way she likes it. She will not go peacefully, and I think that the Queen knows it. But by releasing this statement, she's done all she can. It's almost as if saying, I wish you good well, off you go, and let's see what you're made of. We've clipped your wings, you are able to fly, but only a little bit. Let's see how you do. I think what this statement shows is the Queen is a class act. She lets nothing bother her publicly. She might be seething inside, deeply hurt, but she goes out with pride and her head held high and makes it known all is well, and let's draw a line under this and move on. But by doing what she did in releasing this statement, she's leaving the door open for Harry. And that is the most important thing. I think the royal family are well aware of Meghan's intentions and how she plays. They can see the devastation that has fallen behind her in her previous relationships and are just waiting, biding their time for Harry to either wake up or Meghan to move on to her next victim. What I would like to add is that this statement shows exactly how amazing our Queen is. Meghan, through her friends this week, called the monarchy toxic. Yet the Queen turns out this statement, and as if butter wouldn't melt in Meghan's mouth, and just simply drops this as if to say, you are insignificant. So let's have a look at the Sussex's statement, which followed shortly after. What I do find interesting is that the Queen's statement was all about love, acceptance, still wanting them to be part of the family and praising them. And she left all the nitty-gritty down to the Sussex's statement. They were the ones that had to explain themselves because they were the ones that have caused this mess. So their statement starts with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are grateful to Her Majesty and the royal family for their ongoing support as they embark on their next chapter of their lives. First thing that strikes me is the pure impersonalness of this opening statement. It almost reads like a corporate calling card of how to start a farewell statement, isn't it? There's no familyness, there's no togetherness, there's no personality, and it's very impersonal. Also note that in her statement, the Queen mentions them by name, Harry, Meghan and Archie, but in Harry and Meghan's statement, they are made sure that in the first sentence, their titles, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, is mentioned. There lies the difference. The Queen is family. Harry and Meghan are all about the business. And by mentioning their titles at the very start, they show that they intend to keep these Duke and Duchess titles at the very forefront of their brand. They also mention about a new chapter in their lives, as if the door is shut and they're moving on to bigger and better things. Bit of a slap in the face for the Queen because hers was so gracious. The statement continues, as agreed in the new arrangement, they understand that they are required to step back from royal duties, including official military appointments. They will no longer receive public funds for royal duties. This part of the statement implies that this was a mutual agreement, and for all involved, we know that a lot of things have gone on behind palace walls and a lot of deals have had to be rehashed because people wanted different things. They want us to believe that it's a joint decision by all the royal family and to downplay the fact that they were largely responsible for this whole issue. I am very sad that Harry has to hand in his military titles. He was very proud of them, and I think that Meghan should be entirely ashamed that that's happened. Then it continues with the Queen's blessing. The Sussexes will continue to maintain their private patronages and associations. While they can no longer formally represent the Queen, the Sussexes have made clear that everything they do will continue to uphold the values of Her Majesty. The first couple of words in that statement are very revealing with the blessing of the Queen. Do you really think the Queen wanted this? I think that she's had no choice but to give her blessing because she wanted to leave the door open for Harry. I don't think she actually gives a damn about Meghan because she's caused havoc within the family. They made it clear that they can no longer represent the royal family, but I don't understand what are private patronages and associations. I don't know the difference between the royal ones and the unroyal ones. It was never made clear which ones were official duties and which ones were sidelines. Does that show you that they've had bits on the side all the way through their married life, with regards to work? Have they undertaken non-royal duties and had backhanders for it? You never know. Then it goes on, the Sussexes will not use their HRH titles as they are no longer working members of the royal family. It doesn't say that they are being stripped, it just says that they agree not to use them. That is a bit of an ambiguous statement with regards to how they actually will move forward with these HRH titles being still given to them, but not being able to use them. They are also making sure that history doesn't repeat itself because Diana herself was stripped of her HRH. I find it quite interesting that that particular part of the statement is very, very precise. There is no woolliness around it. It's as if it was forced into the statement that they really didn't want to lose them. It goes on to say that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have shared their wish to repay the sovereign grant expenditure for the refurbishment of Frogmore Cottage, which will remain their UK family home. Well, I think that had to be done really, didn't it? They're basically almost sticking their tongue out going, oh, we didn't want your money anyway. One thing is evidently clear with this statement is that they love to refer to themselves in the third person. It isn't as personable as the Queen's statement, and they ram the Duke and Duchess of Sussex down our throats several times. But we shouldn't really be surprised because we know that Meghan loves making sure that that HRH title is squeezed into anywhere she can at all times. The contrast between the two statements is quite staggering because they use their titles a lot, whereas the Queen uses lots of I's, my's and we's. It states that they will no longer be taking any money from the sovereign grant, but as we well know, that's only 5% of their allowance. The rest of the 95% comes from Charles, and that is estimated to be around £2.3 million per year. Then it goes on to say that Buckingham Palace does not comment on the details of security arrangements. There are well-established independent processes to determine the need for publicly funded security. That basically is a blanket statement saying we will be forking out for security. There is no discussion on this matter. Then it ends with this new model will take effect in the spring of 2020. Now, that is a very harsh way to end a statement. And the Queen's statement ended in, it's my whole family's hope that today's agreement allows them to start building a happy and peaceful new life. Harry and Meghan's statement didn't have any warmth to it one bit. It was clinical, it was corporate, and it was final. That is how I see the two statements. One is from the family, caring, accepting, keeping them in the fold. The other is corporate, cold, and clinical. They are done with the royal family. Couldn't be clearer if it wasn't in black and white. Both Harry and Meghan have made their beds and now they have to lie in it and see what the future holds. What do you think of the two polar opposite statements? Do you think that the Queen was accepting? Do you think that she wasn't hard enough? Or do you think it was perfectly put for a monarch that has been ever so graciously cautious and understanding? What do you think of Harry and Meghan's statement with the corporate format as such and the way that they refer to themselves weirdly in the third person? That very may well be because it came from Buckingham Palace, but then Queen's came from Buckingham Palace too, so it was very polar opposites. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the notification bell and also that like button. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of my followers for all the tips and all the emails, DMs that everybody sends to me. It really is greatly appreciated. So thank you very much for watching once again.